When we say that the feminine recognizes the divine masculine, we are not talking about applause or validation, but about a felt and embodied yes that emerges from the feminine principle within you and others when masculine energy is coherent, ethical and properly channeled in a process of seminal retention. This recognition is less about appearances than about your relationship to time, truth and tension. Recognition isn't romantic flattery, it's confirmation from the nervous system. The feminine sense perceives your presence when it softens external threats, soothes tensions and illuminates the path. It discerns whether your strength is generous rather than domineering, whether your silence is attentive rather than evasive, and whether your passion is devoted rather than addictive. This is subtle telemetry, not a popularity contest. Seminal retention alters the signal you send out. It can influence your timing preference, shifting from immediate ejaculation to prolonged production, from seeking novelty to managing your resources. But retention alone doesn't make you divine. It simply gives you more energy to hit the mark. The feminine doesn't perceive the raw power of your energy, but rather how you transmit that energy without causing an explosion. There are two spheres of recognition, inner and outer. Inner femininity, your capacity to feel, receive, and imagine, observes how your discipline acknowledges your vulnerability. Outer femininity, your partners, friends, community, and life as a source of inspiration, observes how your discipline interacts with the world. If your practice stifles either of these spheres, recognition withdraws. By cultivating both, recognition becomes more refined. The thesis we will explore is simple yet demanding. The feminine recognizes the divine masculine along three dimensions. Security. Can you maintain your intensity without causing harm? Coherence. Are your words, your story, and your habits in harmony? And meaning. Is your strength being used for a cause greater than yourself? Perseverance can help you on these 3 points if you combine it with ethics and dedication. The criteria of the feminine: security, coherence, and meaning. Security is paramount. It's not about being harmless, but about trusting in your own strength. The feminine analyzes your breathing, your gaze, your rhythm, and your touch, searching for signs of a benevolent presence. It seeks to perceive your ability to maintain control without succumbing to numbness or violence, your ability to say no to yourself before someone else has to. Consistency is the second key. Feminine intuition detects micro-inconsistencies better than a lie detector. It senses whether your stated values align with your actions, whether your apologies lead to a change in behavior, whether your tenderness withstands a bad day. It doesn't need words. He needs proof. Concrete proof that your stability isn't for sale when the pressure mounts. Meaning is the third way. Femininity recognizes a man already committed to a relationship that transcends the mere need for approval, a job, a promise, or a sense of vocation. He can sense when he's being asked to go in circles rather than commit to a dynamic process. Having a purpose doesn't necessarily mean making an effort. It means that your yeses and nos weave a story that the soul can respect. Life tests these boundaries through healthy friction, not as manipulative games, but as the unpredictable events of life. Delays, disappointments, and misunderstandings. The feminine observes how your being reacts to these trials. Do you become domineering? Do you collapse? Or do you manage to maintain your balance in the relationship without losing yourself? Faced with novelty, stress, and intimacy, your true nature is revealed. Distinguish between self-mastery and control. Self-mastery is a promise you make to yourself. I master my energy, my limits, my breathing. Control, on the other hand, is a plan imposed on others. You will feel, you will do, or you will be this. The feminine perceives self-mastery as a feeling of security and intimacy. It interprets control as a hidden fear. Seminal retention is valuable when it fosters self-mastery, not control. What does retention mean and what doesn't it mean? Retention is a training in self-control. It involves practicing holding back, circulating and directing erotic energy without externalizing this regulation for immediate release. Physiologically, the benefits vary. Psychologically, the change is constant. The reward system is modified, favoring long-term experiences over quick relief. This alone changes what your presence communicates in a room. Femininity quickly interprets this communication. Less compulsive seeking of stimuli, slower eye movements, longer exhalations, more consistent punctuality. These are bodily signs that say, I am not governed by my appetites. But be careful not to mask your restraint. If you use restraint to avoid vulnerability, your stillness will be perceived as a paralyzing reaction, not as self-control. The atmosphere remains stifled. The shadow appears when restraint morphs into repression. Dryness, a sense of moral superiority, contempt for the choices of others, cycles of secret bulimic episodes, all signs that you are turning on a tap instead of cultivating a channel. The feminine is allergic to fragile virtue. A discipline that surrounds unhealed pain can give off a foul stench. Rigid austerity doesn't attract, it repels. True transmutation is semantic and relational. The pelvis breathes, the heart remains connected, the voice softens without losing its firmness. One can set a boundary without punishing. Name a desire without demanding. Feel a wave without being distracted by the first one that comes along. This combination of warmth and structure is the signature in which the feminine finds its trust in the divine masculine. So don't just count the days. After 30 or 90 days, are you more cheerful, more focused, more generous, more capable of keeping difficult promises? Does your creativity deepen? Do your conversations become clearer? Femininity doesn't evaluate abstinence itself, but its consequences. Holding back like this doesn't become an art. And service is merely storage. Your inner femininity, both listener and ally. Jung called it the anima. Poets call it the muse. Mystics call it the eye of the soul. Your inner femininity does not submit to performance criteria. It seeks connection. It wants to know if your masculine discipline can coexist with pain, wonder, boredom, and admiration without altering them to fit a fixed identity. She is the first and most ardent defender of integrity. Dreams are her reminders. When memory is aligned, dreams gain depth, color, intrigue, and key messages. When it is not, they are reduced to chase scenes or soporific loops. Don't focus on the symbols. Feel the atmosphere. Does sleep leave you with unwavering courage or a restless mind? This lingering feeling is awareness or the lack thereof. Try a daily inner monologue. 2 columns. On the left, the masculine voice, clear, concise, precise. On the right, the feminine voice, curious, frank, visceral. Ask yourself, where did I excel today? Where did I give up? Then define an action that restores your confidence. Sometimes that's all it takes to rest. Sometimes it means finishing an unappealing task. Sometimes it means admitting a fear you've been hiding behind a mask of ambition. Practice apologizing to your inner woman. When you cross boundaries, numb your feelings, or put on a spiritual facade, say it out loud. I've done it. I see the consequences. Then correct your behavior, improve your sleep, reduce stimulation, tell someone the truth, or let go of the role you've been playing to avoid intimacy. Recognition flourishes where healing is a habit, not where perfection is feigned. When internal and external feminine feedback clash, prioritize the most honest signal, not the most flattering. If your partner praises your restraint, but your dreams evoke a desert, nurture your psyche. If your dreams are grand, but your surroundings reflect chaos, restore your connection to reality. The divine masculine can hear many voices and stay the course. The feminine aspect, partners, community, and life. Your partners don't need your perfection, but your predictability. If you practice restraint in the relationship, make it a collaborative process. Share your cycles, identify the reasons, set check-in dates, and develop kind rather than punitive alternatives together. Recognition deepens when the feminine aspect perceives your discipline as a deepening of intimacy, not a decrease in warmth. Consent is a living dialogue, not a simple checkbox. Learn to identify arousal and your boundaries, together without sanctifying or shamefully acknowledging them. A calm rhythm, slower exhalations, pauses to feel, and mindful presence create a space where erotic energy can be explored without urgency. The feminine recognizes your capacity to stop without shutting you down. Beyond romance, the feminine manifests itself through mentors, elders, friends, art, and nature. Birds, oceans, beautiful architecture, a delicious meal. All are feminine mirrors that teach us about proportion, receptivity, and rhythm. If your masculine discipline isolates you from these guides, you are training in a void. Recognition is refined through contact with the textures of the world. Art is an unforgiving mirror. Write, paint, dance, or create something each week. Not for the likes, but for the sake of precision. Creative work will reveal whether your restraint transforms into clarity or rigid minimalism. Feminine sensitivity in art perceives the breadth of your lines. The restraint that nurtures beauty is a profound confidence. The only remaining support is aesthetically and spiritually suspect. It invites criticism, not adoration. Ask a trusted female figure, where do I draw my strength? Where is it fragile? Where is it absent? Receive the answer without aggression. The divine masculine presence makes feedback accessible. Recognition flourishes in an atmosphere where truth can settle peacefully. Time, truth, and the ethics of leadership. Divine masculinity is linked to time, not to speed or slowness, but to rectitude. Make time for your soul. Sleep enough to respect the next day. Start your day at hours that respect others, and rest in a way that respects your body. Femininity recognizes a man who is punctual in his intentions and attentive in his care. This rhythm creates a haven where trust takes root. Make fewer promises, but keep them fervently. The feminine reads your calendar as if it were a sacred text. If your words make promises your days cannot fulfill, your spiritual wealth increases. Let your commitments be solid pillars, not ornaments. One goal achieved is worth more than 20 aspirations. A single breach repaired is worth more than a month of posturing. Conflict is a laboratory of truths. Will you be able to maintain your differences without succumbing to appeasement or slipping into domination? Femininity recognizes men capable of managing tensions, clearly expressing their position, listening attentively to the other, and negotiating solutions that prioritize values over victory. The power to share is the fully realized form of masculinity. The power to dominate is its immature shadow. Responsibility encompasses money, space, and material possessions. Pay your debts, tidy your living space, fix that creaking hinge. The feminine observes your relationship to the physical world because it reveals your unspoken ethics. The staging of scarcity and the reckless provocation of boundaries undermines security. Simplicity combined with generosity is the hallmark. Recognition is an ongoing process. The feminine observes you through the seasons. Wounds, boredom, successes, rejections. Will you know how to carry the light in winter without worrying others? Will you know how to accept praise without becoming arrogant? Will you know how to rise gently after a fall? Seminal retention is a season. The divine masculine cares for all climates. Protocols for gaining and embodying recognition. Anchor your practice in 5 reliable principles. Breathing. A longer exhale when stressed. Boundaries, saying no, clearly and kindly from the start. Calendar. Visible commitments, with boundaries for the good of all. Craft. A skill you deepen each week, regardless of your mood. Attentiveness, unwavering dedication, service, mentorship, and generosity fuel your energy. Recognition accumulates where these qualities are consistently present. Before speaking, carefully consider your words. Are they true? Are they kind? Are they helpful? If any of these conditions are not met, pause. The feminine values moderation that protects, not silence that punishes. In case of conflict, prioritize phrasing that eases tensions and preserves dignity. Precision is a form of tenderness expressed tactfully. Purify your communication. Reduce stimuli that disrupt your limbic system. Fatalistic messages, indignant rumination, pornographic images, and excessive caffeine. Replace them with gentle, consistent energy, sunlight, endurance exercises, walks without headphones, and reading long texts. Memorization is optimal when the noise threshold is lower. Guidance and recognition both require a certain level of hearing ability. Adopt 2 simple habits. A daily 15-minute silent walk with your phone off, focusing on your breathing and the horizon, teaches you to conserve your energy. A 72-hour reliability challenge at keeping 3 small commitments instills in your body a taste for trust. These are modest habits. The feminine finds its echo in your presence. Let us end with a wish you can make this evening. May my strength be warm, my boundaries benevolent, my words pure. I do not hold back to possess, but to serve. I do not seek to control, but to contain. I do not seek to impress, but to be examined. May the feminine, within me and around me, recognize in me a man who walks in harmony with truth. Experience it and recognition will come naturally.